What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another live preview, obviously for Saturday's game, Gillingham away, and obviously don't forget 1 PM kickoff as well. Just before we get in to the preview, I want to say thanks for everyone's support on the channel. Obviously, everyone for everyone's shares and retweets. Really do appreciate it. And then next up, 2K, which is crazy. But yeah, we've got obviously some guests on tonight. We got Josh from Pirate Pundit, Kaz from Gascast, Lucy Ford, and obviously Matt from GillsInTheBloodTV. Make sure you go and subscribe to him. Yeah, welcome everyone.
Hello, mate. You're
Thanks
right.
for having me on, Charlie.
No worries. So yeah, first of all, we're gonna get in it to the obviously recapping the Portsmouth game. We'll start with Josh. What did you make of Tuesday's win?
Yeah, very encouraging. Tommy Riddington obviously simplified it a little bit, gave us that bounce we needed. It's probably what we wanted for the Swindon game, so it was good to see that sort of simplified formation. We actually played with 3 at the back rather than a back 5, so we were encouraged to sort of play on the front foot. We conceded chances, but we put ours away. Jonah Younger finally got his league start, and he looked brilliant. It really did work. We were pushing on the front foot, and we looked good in possession. Josh Grant impressed me probably the most. He played really well with McCormick in that pivot, and long may that continue.
Yeah, definitely. Kaz, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, it was a nice surprise. I mean, to beat Portsmouth, who are one of the best teams in this division, is an incredible feat, really, for us, considering how bad we've been doing. And having Luke Leahy as captain, I thought worked well. Aimer's not been his best, as we've all known. And yeah, like it's just said, it's the simplicity of it, not trying to overcomplicate it, which was what Ben Garner did at the start. Just tried to be too tippy tappy, and that just isn't League One at all. And the way we played on Saturday, I thought Tuesday really suited our style. And to see Jonah start and get 2 goals after we've not scored in 6 of the last 10 games, and then to go and score 3 against one of the best teams in this division, I thought was very encouraging and a really promising performance. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. We'll go with Lucy first, and then we'll go with Matt. Lucy, what did you make of the much needed 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, as everyone knows, we really, really needed those 3 points. Obviously, Saturday's game was cancelled, which, is a whole story in itself. But obviously, when we were playing Portsmouth, and it was Riddington's second game as interim manager, but first in this spell, I didn't really know what to expect. I kind of went in with no expectations, but just hoping they could perhaps find a result. Maybe I was a draw or something. So when we won and the play in the way we did, I was actually really, really pleased. And I thought Luke McCormack played really well, even though he got booked after 5 minutes. He kept running and running, and I was just so pleased for him, but obviously pleased for Jonah as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Got his goals, especially in the last few weeks. I think you could tell when he came off the pitch and Riddington put that arm around him, you could really tell he was really, really behind him and really supporting him.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now we're going to Matt. What did you make of Tuesday night's game against Peterborough?
Game of 2 halves. I think if anyone follows me on social media, it was the prime example of a game of 2 completely different 45 minutes, unfortunately. If you'd watched it first period, you wouldn't have known who was third and who was 14th. We were superb. We stopped them playing. We were decent offensively without creating anything clear-cut or forcing the keeper into a save. But in terms of the likes of Smodic, Clark Harris, Issa, they didn't get a kick first half, and we thoroughly deserved it at the break. But then unfortunately, our keeper dropped a bollock within about 40 seconds of the second half, and from there, Peterborough took over. And in the end, their class just told. They're a very good football side. I've said it plenty of times. I think in terms of where they can go, they're probably the best team in the division in terms of their ceiling and just how good they can be when they're on it. They give you a chance defensively. I think they play a back three, and I don't think any of them are out and out quick that they play. I think it's Thompson, Kent, and Mark Beavers. But what they do give you is experience and defensive know-how. And they just went through the gears second period. And I said at the time it was a weird game because it was hard to say that Gills deserved to lose, but at the same time you couldn't begrudge Posh the points because they were just that good second half. And Clark Harris's goal, the second one's filthy, to be fair. Back heel on the volley from the edge of the 6-yard box. I mean, I know you've tweeted today, Charlie, the one at our place a couple of years ago, so cheers for that. But he's by far the best striker in the division for me. I know Charlie White's playing well and Luke Jeffcott at Plymouth and stuff like that, but for me, in terms of complete strikers and who he had to follow as well, that's the thing. You've got to remember he's got in there to try and replace Ivan Toney. And the fact that Peterborough are not missing Ivan Toney says a lot about Johnson Clark Harris. But I hope he has an absolute mare tomorrow. Sorry, I hope he doesn't do it again against the Sorry Coast. I'm getting confused there. He don't play for you anymore. But no, I only had 2 mouthfuls, didn't I? But no, best striker in the league. Posh deserved the points, and aside from Lincoln, best side in the division that I've seen this season.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy with Peterborough. They just seem to get every single signing up front right. You know, over the past they've had Gale, Sombalonga, Tony, and then Clark Harris. I mean, still so annoyed that we obviously didn't replace him. In all fairness, but yeah, we're obviously. Thanks to everyone, obviously, in the comments. Make sure to leave your questions as well for either, obviously, the Rovers fans here or Matt as well. But yeah, next up, we're going to go with, obviously, the new manager talk. Obviously, still going on. Still haven't found one. Obviously, there's been links everywhere. Even a journalist was saying that Barton's not coming to Rovers. I think he's on the Sky Sports news panel. But Josh, we'll go with you. Obviously, we discussed it last week. What's your thoughts now? Are you still wanting Barton, or you do you reckon a different manager could come in?
It's interesting, really, because you'd thought by today we would have had a decision on that, but whether or not that's been made and we haven't been publicly aware yet. Because it was all based around whether Joey would work with like the current regime we have and not bring it in all of the staff like he did at Fleetwood. So if that's still up in the air and he's not willing to work, then I think Stephen Robinson probably is one that appeals to me. I mean, he's had knowledge with League One before as a player. He's done quite well with one season at Motherwell, where he got third and got him into the Europa League. So that's a decent caliber. And I think that the German that was at Barnsley, Daniel Stendel, he's also someone who knows this league pretty damn well. He's got him out of the league at the first try, albeit it went a bit wrong for him at Hearts. Those are two really strong candidates if Barton doesn't go. And if we can't make a decision, we get another Banks tomorrow. There's no harm in Tommy taking it to the end of the season and giving us that leeway to make that decision. It gives us that sort of time to make the right decision. I don't know whether the board have thought about that, and I know he doesn't want it, but whether on a caretaker basis till the end of the season, I can't see how that's a bad decision to make.
Yeah, completely agree. What about you, Kaz? Obviously, I haven't asked you yet. Obviously, who do you think would you want Barton, or are you favouring someone else?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what Josh is saying there. There's no rush with Widrington doing so well when he has been in charge, and obviously beating Portsmouth was really, really good result. So there's no rush to get someone in. We should really take our time and interview people properly and see who's actually going to be the best fit. Barton as a man, it's very controversial. Obviously, he's got a short fuse. He has a bad reputation. But Barton as a manager and what he's managed to do at Fleetwood, I mean, Fleetwood, no disrespect, to quite a small club, and he got them into the playoffs. So he has got experience in this league to do good things. So, yeah, Barton as a manager, I would say probably is the right man to get us out of this relegation scrap. He'll be tough on the players for sure. And he'll get them playing how he wants them to play. But I know it will spark up a lot of controversy among the fan base, and it will divide the fan base. And if he doesn't start off well, then it can get toxic really, really quickly. So it's a tricky one, and I do hope the board take their time with it. And I wouldn't be against Widdrington till the end of the season, but I'm not so keen on Robinson. But Stendhal, Stendhal, is that his name? The German, I've looked at his record, and he took Barnsley up to the Championship, which is, again, great experience for this level. So I would favour him over Robinson. But like I said, I just hope the board take some time and make the correct decision.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one thing we need to do. Is take the time. Obviously, I think the last two were quite rushed, and obviously got them both completely wrong. Matt, what's your thoughts on the situation at Rovers?
Well, it's a tricky one. Obviously, I don't know as much about what goes on behind the scenes as you guys. Obviously, being a Gills fan and not a Gas fan, but I had major reservations about Ben Garner when he took the job when Graham Cochran left, and I said in the summer I couldn't see you getting in the playoffs with Garner in charge. I thought the recruitment was decent in terms of who you brought in. We're not going to just talk about the two that came from Gills, but there was other good players that you signed, Sam Nicholson and Jack Baldwin, who's got pedigree at this level, and there was some decent players that you bought in, but I had you down as sort of mid-table. I think 10th at the start of the season. I did my season preview just because of the Ben Garner effect. I know he had issues and he was given compassionate leave back end of last season, which is understandable, and it's good that Bristol Rovers did that. But for me, it just wasn't working. Paul Tisdale, decent manager in League Two. Is that his ceiling? It's not worked a couple of times now in League One. I know he had excuses per se at MK Dons with plenty of injuries to key players, I'm slightly old school in the respect that I think you should give managers time, and 15 games is not long enough, but I can understand why they've pulled the trigger, because 3 wins or whatever it was out of 15, it's no better than how Garner started, and you was only going one way, and it was what I'd seen only in highlights. Obviously, is it weren't good to watch. And you had the awful ingredient of conceding loads and not scoring hardly any, which is relegation combination, unfortunately. But Tommy Widdrington knows the club inside out, and I'd probably have to say what the other guys have said, and that's that I don't think there'd be any harm in giving him till the end of the season and then see who's available. It's always harder to bring someone in the middle of the season. You have to pay compensation if they've already got a job. If not, like you say, do you then take a punt on someone when you wouldn't do it in the summer? And obviously with COVID and all that, there's the added complication that there's been a lack of income for all clubs. So can you afford to buy someone out of a contract? The only reason I'd say maybe it wouldn't be Widdrington is if he starts off, he's had a great result Tuesday, don't get me wrong, but if he goes and loses, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the next 5, you're no better off than you were under Tisdale and Garner, and then you might have to look at getting someone in who's going to be a long-term appointment. But Barton's similar to Steve Evans, and let's be honest, so he gets results, he plays a certain way, but he's a bit of a tosser.
Yeah, completely agree.
But if he's inside the tent peeing out, so to speak, rather than firing in, then it's not a bad thing. And I didn't want Steve Evans as a Gills fan, and we've got him, and he's won me round, and I'm humble enough to say that. We all want our football team to do well at the end of the day, and if Joey Barton comes in and you start winning football matches, I'd imagine most of the fan base will allow the fact that his extracurricular stuff's not great.
Yeah, agree. What about you, Lucy? What's your thoughts? Are you Barton in, or are you a different route?
So I would probably say I am Barton in on a manager, and I know it's not an opinion everyone agrees with, which I can get. If you look at him off the field and you look at his history and his ongoing history, it isn't pretty viewing. But when you look at him as a manager, there are things that are good to see. And when Fleetwood come down, their teams, when he was manager at Fleetwood, his team would always come down with a lot of fight in them. But yeah, if Barton, my next candidate was Daniel Sandell, who was at Barnsley. He was someone that I actually wanted back when we were looking for the manager when Tisdale got appointed. He was the name then, and so I would be quite happy if it is Barton or Sandell. But yeah, it's just it does definitely seem like there's a split in the fan base, and I would say older people. I've just seen someone say it looks like older people don't want him and younger people don't. So that seems to be like quite a divide, and some people seem to be really unhappy if we go down that route. But yeah, we just got to take our time and just see how the next couple of weeks go, because there's still so many games that we've got left to play as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm sort of on that. I think I would either keep Widrington to the end of the season and then see what happens. And then, obviously another comment here, Shay Withy, obviously he's still got the court case of when he punched Stendhal, or he headbutted him, something like that, when he played against Barnsley, and he's obviously got that in the summer, which is another crazy thing. But next up, we're gonna go. Obviously, the last time we did play Gillingham, pretty poor performance from us at the Mem, losing 2-0 from 2 goals from Verdane Oliver. Josh, we go with you. What was your thoughts on that game? Can you remember much from that game?
It was just one of those games again under Garner where you had a little bit of expectation going into it, and then it sort of flustered out as soon as Verdane Oliver scored his first goal. Frustrating night, if I remember correctly. Again, just playing across the back line, getting doubled up on. It's just, something you want to erase from your memory, really. I don't have many good memories of Gillingham games, to be honest.
No. Yeah, definitely. Kaz, what about you? Can you remember much from that game under Garner Ball?
To be honest, no. And that says it all, really, doesn't it? Did we lose 2-1?
2-0.
2-0, see. To be fair, I think watching from home plays a massive part in not being able to remember much of these games, because sitting on the sofa every week doing the same thing, it just all blends into one. But yeah, I don't remember anything that stands out from that game. I probably just went, oh, we've lost again, and didn't think much of it, to be honest. But yeah, Ben Garner, it was just overcomplicated, and he tried to overdo it. And then you've got players like Zane Westbrook who tried to be too fancy, and that's just not the League One style. And it's every Garner game, everyone was right to call it Garner Ball, because it just felt like the same every time. I do think he had a tough run of fixtures, mind. I do think he did. But then Gillingham, I remember thinking at the time it was probably a winnable game. No disrespect to them. I just thought, we have a chance here, rather than the likes of Doncaster and Sunderland that we had early on. But as it went to show for Garner that it just wasn't going well for him. And hopefully now with Widrington, it looks like Widrington being charged tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see a different style and a different approach and get a better result.
Yeah, completely agree. And obviously from that game, the only thing I can really remember was the first goal, and I think it was Ema. He just let the ball bounce, go over him, and obviously that's basically been what he's been like at Rovers. He's been pretty awful. Obviously a lot of mistakes, very slow. I mean when he runs, it just seems to feel like he's sort of stuck in the mud. Really. But yeah, Matt, what was your obviously it was a good win for you. Can you remember much from that game?
Well, yeah, like you've mentioned that Max Amar makes a poor error for the first one. I think he tries to get it on the full rather than dropping off. If he drops off and then has Verdane Oliver in front of him, I think he probably just heads it clear. But I think that comes if you're not playing well, your side's not playing well, confidence does a funny thing to your head and you start making funny decisions. But yeah, as soon as he got turned and then tried to let it bounce, Verdane Oliver had the run on him. And to be fair to Oliver, I thought it was a decent finish. He still had a bit to do on the run, but there's a couple of bits second half. I remember Amar particularly as well. I think there was a shot we had and he nearly cleared it against the teammate and it nearly went back in. I think it rolled out for a corner. But it's interesting hearing you guys talking about him, because for 2 seasons he was super consistent with us. One thing I did say though was on the Gascast when they got me on. I think it was the day after it had been announced that he was going to you guys, and I said you need to be careful if you play him in a back three. If you play him from the side of a back three, he'll get found out on the outside if your wing back pushes on, because he does lack a bit of pace. He's not slow. I don't think he's slow, but he's not out and out quick. And if you've got a pacey winger and your wing back's bombed on, he's going to get found out. And I think, but he's played sort of 3 positions for you guys, hasn't he? I think he's played as a back three. He's played in a pair. He's played right back. And now he's popped his shoulder out again, which he's had history of that at Gills. He popped his shoulder twice at Gills. I mean, he done it back end of last season before it got shut down, and but he returned a week later and was good at Sunderland. But it's a weird one for me, because, like I say, he was super consistent with us over the last couple of years. He was captain for a reason, and he led a youngish back line really well with the likes of Jack Tucker and Connor Ogilvie in it last season. But maybe it just, sometimes players and clubs, they just don't fit, do they? And it could be a case of that. But I think you'd be daft to write him off after 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can turn it around. Like you said, he's got a little bit of an injury at the moment, but obviously there's a comment there, and it was, I think it was Tisdale, but we've just had so many managers and so many awful games this season. I can't remember if it was Garner or Tisdale, to be honest, but yeah, apparently it was Tisdale. So I mean, I think the football was just as bad on it. Really, it's
disregards my whole point.
Yeah. It's been awful. We got a question actually. I think Matt pretty much answered it, but it was from Jake Barber. He said, "What do you think has been the factor in Max Emer's downturn in form after being such a commanding defender and captain at Gillingham?"
Yeah, similar to what I've said, I think, as well. And like you guys have mentioned, it can't help having 2 managers. That's never good for, consistency, continuity. Players if they're not trusting the manager, they don't know who's going to be in charge from week to week, then obviously it's going to affect them, and they're going to start thinking, who are we playing for? Are they buying into it if it's not going well under Garner? We all hear about, managers losing the dressing room and stuff like that. And maybe it's not the case that they've just down tools, but if they don't buy into the ethos that perhaps Ben Garner was trying to incorporate, then subconsciously you do switch off. But it's now been 2 managers and a bit longer, so then I suppose you have to put a bit of it on the players as well. You can't all just be the manager, and it always comes back to that old adage that, the manager picks the team, but as soon as they cross the white line, it's up to the boys with a shirt on to go out there and put in a performance. And you guys just haven't done it enough this season, have you? But I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see if you do get a settled manager and see how he improves, if you got an improved run of form as a side. So, because like you mentioned, it was promising. You went to Sunderland first day of the season and picked up a really good draw, but then it swiftly turned, didn't it? Unfortunately for you lot.
Yes, it's been definitely a season to forget, really. What about you, Lucy? Can you remember any good or bad things, obviously, from the Gillingham game? It was a pretty shocking game, wasn't it?
To be honest, one of the things that really sticks out for me for that game is obviously we're not fans, you can hear quite a lot. And I think within the first 10-15 minutes, all I could hear was Steve Evan barking mad and swearing, and I'm pretty told off by the ref. The radio was doing I follow as well, so I think it was literally within like 6-7 minutes. I apologise, so that's something that sticks in my head. So I expect the same tomorrow.
That's every Gills game that happens.
Saying everything seems to be merged into one, and I think it was around September, October time. That's when we played them. I think from the top of my head, and everything around that point just kind of merges. And I just remember it not being like a great performance. Again, like everyone thought that we had an expectation to win, but it just ended up being not a very good game. And which Gillingham took well, but yeah, it was just mistakes on our part which cost us the 3 points, really.
Yeah, completely agree. We've also got another question for Matt. Matt's got another Gills fan. I think it's a Gills fan. I've not recognised the name. It's OS Orthodox Stan.
Says, Gills fan,
yeah. I didn't even read the question, but yeah, here it is. Like many of us Gills fans, tended to think, do you think that Hanlon is better suited to a winger or as a striker?
I think that's for you guys. That's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll quickly go. I think he would have been better suited as a winger and not a natural replacement. I think it's crazy that we basically got him in as a replacement. We sold Clark Harris for, was it 1.25 million, something around that, and then bought Hanlon for, I think it was a couple of $100,000, because obviously he was still under the age of 24 at the time, and obviously, yeah, it's just criminal. What about you, Josh? Do you reckon he'd be suited more as a winger than a striker?
Suited more in a front two than a central forward. He's had so much pressure on his shoulders to be that focal point for others to play off, and that's not his game. And we've seen that the last few games where, apart from obviously the last one where he played in the front two, he was literally the focal point. He doesn't like the ball at his feet, and he doesn't like people playing off of him. He likes getting the ball in and running at people. And a lot of unnecessary pressure was put on his shoulders because of, he was a direct replacement for Clark Harris. Ayunga was sort of the sort of rough diamond, and I don't think he's a bad player. Like, people keep, a lot of criticisms come his way, but I think we need to play to his strengths now, and his strengths are, you either play him in a wide three, or you play him as a front two, and Ayunga and Brandon will play off each other.
Yeah, completely agree. I think he's good in the front too. He just needs that goal, doesn't he? It's just his confidence. You can see it. The one thing with Hanlon that people can't criticize him for is that he works, 100% and gives effort. There's some players, obviously the likes of Stephen Payne, who was an absolute donkey for us, and was just lazy. But obviously, yeah, Hanlon's he does try. Kaz, what about you? Would you agree with Josh?
Yeah, definitely. I do feel sorry for Hanlon. Like you said, he works really hard. He just has such little service, or he has had little service in these past few weeks, especially under Tisdale. So you've got to feel bad for him, really. But I think with Hanlon, the frustrating part of him is that he is always looking for free kicks or penalties. So when he's in the box, he doesn't stay strong and then go on and shoot. He'll fall down. And a lot of the time that goes against him. And that's what's really frustrating, because I think if you just had that extra confidence in you, like Jonah did on Tuesday, where he just muscled him off the ball and then he went and had a shot and it was brilliant, bottom corner. Hanlon just hasn't quite got that, but he is only 23. I thought he was older when we first signed him, but he is still quite young, so he's got time to develop into a player. Johnson Clark Harris is 26, so he's got a few years to catch up and be a good striker. But obviously it looks like Jonah's starting to find his feet a bit now, so maybe he's got a little bit of competition there. I don't know, maybe that'll push him to be a bit more confident and go out and prove himself. I don't know, but I think he's a good player. I just think maybe it's a lack of confidence slightly.
Yeah, and obviously as well, I think you make a good point with the Clark Harris as well, because before he came to us, I don't think he'd ever scored more than 8 or 9 in a season, and then as soon as he come to us, 2025, I think he joined us. He's been quality ever since, and hopefully the same thing can happen to Hanlon, because like you said, he's still only 23, so. Yeah, Lucy, what about your thoughts on Hanlon as a winger, or do you think he's better in a front two?
Yeah, I would agree. I think he is better in a front two, and like everyone's saying, you can tell he really struggled at the moment, which is a real shame to see. Earlier in the season he scored some really, really good goals, but yeah, at the moment he just hasn't really seemed to have found his feet. But he's obviously played games, and we thought maybe he needs a bit of a break. Daly's back now, or maybe Daly and Ayunga could play together, just to give Hanlon that little bit of a break. But he shouldn't be dropped, because he is trying really hard, and hopefully Ayunga's scoring on Tuesday night, and you could just see the confidence lift off him. Hopefully that can breed into the other strikers. So when they're kind of on and perhaps having the chances as well, that they can perhaps score goals as well. Because like Daly, for example, before his injury, he was flying. I really was impressed with her injury against Darlington. So he'll probably need a few more games to kind of get back up to speed. But yeah, that's kind of my view on it.
Yeah. I pretty much completely agree. Obviously, it's been sort of harsh because, and obviously weird that we've just been relying on such young strikers. Every other team has pretty much got one or even two experienced strikers, and our oldest player is 23. I think Ayunga's 23, Hanlon's 23, and Daly's 20, 21. So yeah, it's been crazy. Also, what I want to go over is the talk with Joe Ledley. I don't know if all of you have seen that. Obviously, ex-Premier League player, won titles with Celtic, and I think he was at the Euros 2016 with Wales when they was in the semi-final. We'll go with you, Josh, first. What's your thoughts on Joe Ledley that's maybe signing for the Gas?
I think depending on fitness and sort of caliber of the player can't be questioned, but he's 34 now. I think he only made about 7 appearances for Newcastle Jets, his last club. So if we can get some of the Joe Ledley we've seen in the past, when he was at Cardiff, he got his move to Celtic, and he looked a real player. If we could get someone like that to sit in midfield, it's only going to help the likes of Grant and McCormack develop. With the likes of Agogo out as well, it'd be an experienced head to be named in that 22. I think it'd be a good move only if he proves his fitness and shows that he's got something to offer, because there's too many clubs out there that just throw contracts at players of his caliber just because of the name. So if he could just prove his worth in training, and we can see some of that on the pitch, I'd be more than happy to take him on.
Yeah, completely agree. We'll go with you, Kaz, and then we'll get back to Matt in a sec about Gillingham. What's your thoughts on Ledley?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, he's a bit older. He's got experience, which we need. We need someone who has that because we've got quite a young squad. My only worry is the lack of games that he's had lately. But if he's been training, like Josh said, if he's been training, he's been proving himself in training, then yeah, why not? I think he'd be a great leader in midfield, which I feel like we are potentially lacking at the moment. So yeah, I'd be all for it, to be honest, as long as he's got the fitness and he's gonna bring something to this club, and in terms of leadership, then yeah.
Please tell me someone that's not true. Is that true that Roby's been announced? Are you kidding me, or are they just joking? You are serious, right?
No, they're joking.
I was going to say, Jesus Christ.
What's that?
They were saying about Roby. Yeah, I was going to say, if he was announced, then I'd give up, because that would just be another Bengana, wouldn't it? Lucy, what's your thoughts on the news that Joe Ledley's training at Rovers?
I thought it was quite good, actually. I was reading about it this morning, and I thought someone with his kind of experience is invaluable. And obviously with Upson out and Barrett out, I think with Gogo out and Barrett out, Upson is the only kind of experienced midfielder. So I think having someone else like Ledley in the squad would be really, really helpful. Everyone said he's kind of not really played that much over the last couple of years, had a couple of injuries, I think. But he, everyone knows what his career is about, and he's getting a bit old, dressing, I think, with really players. And I think I was reading from a Cardiff fan that he's kind of moved back to South Wales now, so it wouldn't be far for him to travel. If he wants to base his family there, then a good club to come to. I think Newport might have been interested, but they said that the wages were a bit too difficult for them to work out, so that's why he's not training with them. So watch and wait and see, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like you said, he hasn't played that many games, but I think his experience could help a lot. I think Grant could do with that experience, because even then again, obviously a DM, which is his position technically, he definitely does need help and a lot of advice. And I think Ledley, he's played at the Euros. He's even played in the Champions League with Celtic. So yeah, he could bring some good experience. Now, Matt, I want to go over to you. Can you explain? Obviously Rovers fans won't know about Gillingham's season. How's your season going so far?
Consistently inconsistent up until Christmas, I'd say, was probably the best way to describe it. It seemed that for every decent performance and good result, we then put in a shocker. So we had early part of the campaign was weird. We was like playing in blocks of 5. We had 5 really good games at the start. We took 10 points. Then we went 5 without even scoring a goal. Then we took 13 from 15 in the run when we beat you lot. And then I think we lost 4 out the next 5, or 5 out the next 6. But the January transfer window was good to us in the sense that a few of the loan lads went back that were probably not poor players, that's the wrong way to put it, but in terms of know-how and how to win games in League One, they were probably still a little bit wet behind the ears. And we got in more experience. We got Callum Slattery in from Southampton, who I think is further along with his football education than the likes of Josh Eccles and Scott Robertson, who we had before. Obviously, Ollie Lee coming back was a huge one for us because he was with us last season and was really good. We got a better centre-half in for me. We sent back 2 centre-backs to Coventry and Arsenal, and we got in Robbie Cundy from Bristol City, who's been... So am I allowed to say them words on this channel? I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know about that.
You can bleep it next time.
So yeah, I'll have to rule that bit. So yeah, in terms of team selection, the back 4 and the keeper's been a bit more consistent, which has helped us. We're still conceding goals and soft goals, which is frustrating because even the Lincoln defeat and the Peterborough defeat, there was periods in the game where we were on top, and we've probably all seen me moaning about the soft penalty against Lincoln, but it's gone now. But certainly against Peterborough, keeper chucks one out to Clark Harris after 30 seconds of the second half, and then the second one takes a deflection. The third one, we probably don't defend it properly up until the good finish from Johnson Clark Harris again. But we've been a lot better since the turn of the year, and certainly since the transfer window was open and shut, because we've only lost 2 out of 7, and they're to the best 2 sides in the division for me. Aside from that, if you look at the team slightly below them, we've drawn at Sunderland, we've won at Accrington, we've beaten Crewe comfortably, beat Charlton at the Valley last weekend. So I still think we'll probably finish mid-table because of the fact that we give ourselves too much to do early in the season in terms of a playoff push. But we've played a lot of the top teams now, so it's up to us. The next 2, dare I say it, are winnable. But obviously you guys are probably thinking Saturday's winnable as well, and I understand that completely. But we've got you guys and then Wimbledon away Tuesday, and if we can pick up 6 points, we'll be back within probably 5 of the playoffs. But I still think we'll come up short. I think we're probably lacking a bit in terms of numbers. We lack a different type of striker, with Dominic Samuel unfortunately being ruled out for the season. So we go with John Akindi and Verdane Oliver, who are effectively a clone of each other. They're both good at what they do, but they're exactly the same in essence. And I just think the small squad lack a bit of know-how at centre-back, which is a really crucial area. And the fact that we didn't start the season as consistently as we probably would have wanted means we'll probably finish somewhere between sort of 8th and 13th.
Yeah. I mean, Gillingham obviously very physical team. I think most of us know that. Obviously, big John Akindi up front. Obviously, used to play for Rovers once upon a time. I think he had a short loan spell. He was awful, but that was getting on, I think, 10 years ago now, maybe 10 years ago. But yeah, he's obviously got a lot better since. Had good spells at Barnet and Lincoln. Obviously now at you. So I think it's going to be interesting because we really struggled against you. Obviously, as we were saying, with that two and obviously physical players up front. Also remember, guys, in the comments, if you have any more questions, please get them in there, and we'll answer them. Obviously, if you're watching drop a like if you're enjoying the stream, and subscribe if you haven't. Next, we're going to go on predicted lineups. We'll start off with you, Josh. What lineup would you go for? Would you go with the same lineup, or would you make a few changes from Tuesday's win?
No, I'd stay the same. Just breed some consistency. You've won, just build the momentum on that, and I don't think it gets much better, to be honest. If Eimer's back, I'd probably still leave him out, to be honest. I'd definitely stay the same if we can.
Yeah, completely agree. I think, like they say, never change a winning team. And I think fair play to Cian Harris. He's been, there's been a lot of people, including myself, that don't really like him, but he was really good. He's had a few decent games this season. Lincoln away, he had a really good game when we beat them. When we had Garner in charge, and you can't drop a winning team. Kaz, what about you? Are you the same? Would you keep it unchanged?
Yeah, sorry, Josh, to keep echoing your thoughts throughout this whole thing, but yeah, I keep it unchanged. Absolutely. There's no reason why any player from Tuesday night should be dropped. They all played really well. Day had a blinder. Cormick is one of the best young players I've seen at the Gas in years. Ayunga, he's going to be so full of confidence. He's going to want to keep this up now, so he definitely has to start. Hopefully he'll go on and get another. Keep it exactly the same. And Aimer, if he's back, he doesn't deserve to be in the team. And Leahy did a great job as captain on Tuesday, so I wouldn't change it at all. There's no need. Yeah,
completely agree. Are you the same, Lucy? Oh, right, Lucy's just dropped out.
Lost her. She probably is.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's all right.
Cool problem. Can you hear me now?
That's all right.
You might not be able to see me, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's fine. No worries.
Sorry about that. I would agree. I would keep the same team for Saturday, just because I think the last kind of few months I've noticed like a bit of like tinkering. Sometimes when we won games, which is a bit frustrating, especially when a team's won, they should keep their place. I definitely would keep the same team, and I obviously would love if Ayunga scores again and builds on Tuesday's performance. But obviously, I was also kind of thinking to myself, the next few weeks we're still playing Saturday, Tuesday, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe kind of some people in and out, just kind of being mindful of like the amount of games we've got coming up. I think we're playing Saturday, Tuesday now until the end of March.
Oof.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we don't want any more injuries. But for tomorrow, I would still keep the same team.
Yeah, completely agree. We got a few questions in the chat. Obviously, Chris Carr, welcome to the chat. We basically gone over it. We all think it'd be a good sign-in to sort of help the younger players out, and obviously he's got the class. It's just about whether he can sort of keep fit, because like Josh said at the start, that he's only played 7 games in 2 years, which isn't good. But if he can get some fitness in, then hopefully he'd be a good shout. We got another question from Harry Jenkins. We go with you, Josh. Maka on a permanent. What's your thoughts?
Oh, absolute no-brainer if we could. I'm not sure what his contract situation is at Chelsea, but even if we could get him again on another season-long loan next season, I'd take that, like we did with Mitchell Lawson. I know it didn't work out, but yeah, absolutely. He's just what you need for someone coming down from the Premier League, to know what it is like to play in League One. It's completely different to any academy type of football, the Premier League 2 and what have you. It's completely different, but he's took to it pretty damn well. He's got that high energy, and they sort of play off that. And he epitomised like the work rate on Tuesday night, just the way he was bombing around. He was on a yellow card, but that didn't stop him. yeah, absolute no-brainer for me if we could.
Yeah, completely agree. And obviously, Kaz, I've seen you nodding your head. I'm guessing you're the same as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I first noticed McCormick Lincoln away. I thought he was such a live wire. I thought he was brilliant. And he's getting better and better each time. And I think our team is so much better when he's in the squad. It wasn't long ago we actually had him on the bench. I think it was Peterborough away. And I thought, Christ, to have him on the bench. I mean, like, he's got to start for me. Every game he's got to start. I think he brings so much to the game. And he's young, and I would be surprised if he keeps going the way he is. He's got such an intelligent head on him as well. I've seen his post-match interviews. He's so mature for his age, and he's driven and he's motivated. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, if he goes to the Championship in the next few years, because I think he will be Championship standard minimum over the next few years if he carries on the way he is. I think, yeah, he's class.
Yeah, I completely agree. What about you? What about you, Lucy? Are you sort of the same?
Yeah, 100%. You can just tell when you're watching him, he just oozes class when he's playing. And, he's so young as well. He's got so much time on his side. I think if he keeps developing the way he is, I definitely think he could play higher. But obviously, I would love him to stay at Rovers. I think he's caught my eye the last few months, but the goal he scored against Plymouth as well was an exceptional goal. So that's really pleasing. And obviously his free kick against Crewe, which I think has just been nominated for Goal of the Month for League One in January. But he's up against some very, very good goals as well. So yeah, that's the thing. He can score free kicks. He can score outside the box. He's just got that talent, and he's already looking ahead at the next pass. But yeah, no, he's really, really impressed me. He's definitely my young player of the season so far.
Yeah, he's been quality. I think he's just got better, and obviously, like all of you have echoed it. It was crazy how obviously he made that awful, it was a pretty awful challenge early on, got the yellow, but after that he was exceptional. He was still making tackles, winning the ball. Yeah, he's class, and like Harry says, apparently he's out of contract this summer. So unless, I think other clubs would be looking at him as well, to be fair. So hopefully we can get that deal done. Matt, we'll come back over to you. Is there any players we should look out for this weekend from Gillingham?
Jordan Graham, if he's fit. He came back he missed a couple of games with a dead leg. He missed one game, missed the Charlton game, and then came off the bench on Tuesday. He's been first class all season. If he'd not had an ACL, he wouldn't be playing in this division. Carl Dempsey, I say it on a weekly basis. I'm not sure why Joey Barton decided to let him go on a free transfer. So, not that I want to cloud your judgment on who should be your new manager, but just week by week, he just gets better and better. He runs games, scores goals, provides goals, creates chances. I'm staggered that we got him on a free, to be honest. Conor Ogilvie back to his best defensively now. We've all seen his goal last weekend. And the front two. I think the front two do a lot of work that probably doesn't get a lot of the headlines, because it's the dirty work and the unseen work and the ugly work, so to speak. So, but John Akindi's running himself into form. He's probably in better form than Verdane Oliver at the moment. He's got, I think it's 4 or 5 in his last 10, and I think Verdane's only got 1 in that period. So, be interesting whether we do change it up as well, because like you lot have mentioned, we do play Saturday, Tuesday now for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So, be intriguing. If Jordan Graham's fit, he probably starts, but then it means we might have to change the shape and go back to a 4-3-3, unless you play him as a striker and play him as alongside John Akindi or Verdane Oliver, and then play the diamond. So we've got a couple of decisions to make in that sense. We could play Alex McDonald, and then you could play the diamond or 4-3-3 without having to make a substitution. But then that'd be harsh on Tom O'Connor, who was decent on Tuesday night. But no, the 2 standouts at the moment have got to be Carl Dempsey or Jordan Graham.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a really good midfield battle. Obviously, you got the likes of Dempsey, Slattery, Ollie Lee is a good player as well. Obviously, plays behind the 2 strikers. That'll be good to see. Hopefully, Josh Grant can have another good game. I think it's going to be it's going to be the midfield battle, I think, and obviously which defenders could cope with both, the physical battles, especially with our younger, playing like he did the other night, and obviously Akindi and Oliver we're going to have to be careful of. Got another question on here, Tom Trotman. Appreciate you tuning in. He said thoughts on the Holloway article in the Bristol Live today. I haven't actually seen this article. Has any of you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we go with you, Josh. What's your thoughts on the Holloway again getting in the Bristol Live?
He just touched on the sacking culture between the two clubs, and then he said about he'd like to see Bristol City in the Premier League. So yeah, sort of sour taste for someone who's an avid gashead. He sometimes likes to fan the flames as such when we're in a bit of when sackings happen, there is a division in the fan base. He tends to jump on that of late. I liked what Tommy Riddington did in the week with his little dig back, and for someone he's very outspoken, he won't change, and that's not someone you probably want in charge of your football club. But as a gashead, from afar, now he is what he is. He's Marmite. I think a lot of the older fans still remember what he was like, 80s, 90s, and what he gave for the badge. But as a pundit and a manager, coming to the latter sort of end of his managerial career, he hasn't really impressed, and he's a bit dried up. So journalism is his next sort of forte, and he's doing his best to aggravate us.
Yeah, completely agree. And obviously, like you said, it was that interview which Tommy did after the game was pretty hilarious when he was proper. They were saying about it, and he just turned, and his face and his eyes, it was just comedy. But yeah, I mean, that's what he seems to do, wasn't it? That's why, I've seen a few people commenting on wanting Holloway, but he would never ever come back to Rovers as manager. I don't think so, because he, just the stuff he says, and obviously he knows the club, about the board as well. They're a bit, don't really get situations right, and whether they back managers, so and so. But we're gonna go on to predictions for the game. Make sure as well, if you've still got any more questions, get them down and we'll answer them. We'll start off with Matt, the Gillingham fan. Gills in the blood. What's your thoughts on the game and your score?
Right, I'll put my armour on now. I think it was a good result for you guys in the week. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a very good Portsmouth side that you've beaten. But looking at your away record, I've written some notes down here when I did my preview video. You've conceded 13 in the last 6 on the road. You've only scored 3. There's been blanks in 4 of them. But then we don't keep clean sheets at the moment. So I just think if we play as well as we have done in the last month, 6 weeks, we should have enough. I'm going to go 3-1 to Gills.
Wow, 3-1 Gills. I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Just leave now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised because, like me and Josh were talking about just before we come on, our record at Gillingham is awful. I've been there, I think, 4 or 5 times. I've only seen 1 win. Like I said, that was a couple of years ago when Clark Harris scored that rocket. But apart from that, we seem to get battered there every time. We go with you, Josh, now. What's your score prediction for the game?
Yeah, I've been about 4 or 5 times and never seen us win. Tuesday's result is only good if we follow it up with something positive. So if that's a point away at Gillingham, I think that's a good point earned. So I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit and go 2-2.
2-2. Yeah. What about goal scorers? What are you saying?
I'm going to go Big Jonah again and Sammy Nicholson.
Sammy Nicholson. Yeah, I'll take that. Kaz, what about you? Are you feeling confident?
Oh, it was such a good result on Tuesday. Like, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this side have a hint of complacency about them, and they think, "Yeah, we've done it now. Don't need to try anymore." And then they sort of lose their way a little bit. So, yeah, I'd love to say that we'll go on and get 2 wins out of 2, but I just can't see it. And it's away from home, and it's an early kickoff. So, I'm going to go 1-1. I've got a real feeling that Jonah is off the mark now, and he's got confidence about him. So I'm going to go Jonah. Yeah, and I think, yeah, we will concede as well, sadly. So 1-1 for me.
1-1, yeah. I mean, a point would be decent, to be honest. Lucy, what about you? Are you feeling confident, or are you a bit on the fence with this one?
Most people know me. I'm quite optimistic, so I'm actually I think we're going to win, even though every time I've been to Gillingham we've lost, and we've also got battered as well. That game on Good Friday will always stick in the memory for all the wrong reasons. I think we lost, was it 4-0 or 4-1? It was horrible. Anyway, I will tomorrow. I think Kyle Dempsey will score for Gillingham first, because we always like to concede. But I think Jonah, the man of the moment, will equal. I think Brandon Hanlon will score against his former club. So I'm predicting 2-1.
2-1. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think 3 points would be class, to be honest. I think with me, obviously, I was on Matt's channel obviously yesterday for the preview, and I think I said a 1-1 draw with a Younger scoring for Rovers and a Kindi scoring for Gillingham, because whenever we play against a Kindi, usually he seems to score against us. But I mean, I'm going to keep that prediction, but I'm also going to have another prediction as well. So, why not? Just to be a bit more confident. I'm going to change it. Actually, I'm going to change it to 2-1 Rovers. I'm feeling a bit more optimistic. Since Tuesday. So yeah, 2-1 Rovers, a Younger at the double, I think, and a Kindi for Gillingham. We've also got another question in the chat, if I can find it. There's so many comments, it's crazy. There, right. So we got, oh no, it keeps going away. There's so many comments, it's crazy the amount of people in here tonight. Right, Max Carter has got a question. I'll put it on screen now. Do you think the Pompey game for a Younger will now be the start of something great? And the other one is, do you think it made a big difference on Tuesday without Ema? We'll go with the first one first. Josh, what's your thoughts? Do you think Jonah can get on a really good run now?
Yeah, I think the start of his career has been hampered with injury, and he never really got that chance for consistency, really. So the fact he's now had a league start, he's got 2 goals, he's going to grow in confidence. I think he was a bit of a rough diamond, but they knew what they were buying. His physical attributes and the fact that he can go off either foot is something that most league clubs are looking for, and they are out there. There's plenty of examples in non-league, especially Peterborough seem to be like amazing at recruiting within the non-league structure, and that's something we've got to touch on in order to succeed. And if that means cashing in future, and so be it. But yeah, I think it is. I think is a start of something really good for him.
Yeah,
I'm not
definitely.
sure. I'm not sure about Ema. I don't know if that his absence made any difference. I think he would have probably slotted in that back three anyway. But Harry's done well.
Yeah, definitely. Kaz, what's your thoughts? Do you think now a Younger's got his brace, he can kick on now?
Yeah, I've been banging on this whole time about confidence. I think confidence is such a big thing in football. And for a player like Jonah, who has only ever played at non-league, he's got this big, massive opportunity now in League One. All he needed was to get off the mark. I know he did it in the Cup early on in the season, but to get 2 goals against a very good side, I think is going to be a massive boost for him. but we need the whole squad to be on form. We can't just rely on him. We need everyone to be. And I think if everyone is, then they will give him that service that he needs. And then he'll get the goals that he rightly deserves. It'd be an absolute travesty if he doesn't start, because he's going to be so up for it. He's going to want to carry this on now. So yeah, I do think that this could really be a turning point for him, which is great, because it's exactly what we needed. When we didn't sign a striker in January, I just thought, that's it, what we're going to do. So hopefully now Jonah's going to step up and be exactly what we've been looking for these last few weeks. And for Aimer, yeah, I mean, I just think he's just been so off form. I just don't rate him at all at the moment. He had a good game against Peterborough away, but most of the time, especially against Accrington, he was at fault for 4 of those goals. So I think it's right to leave him out the team. Don't put him back in, and then make him fight for his place. That might give him a kick up the ass. But yeah, I think definitely having Leahy as captain perhaps made a difference, because I don't think Aimer is being a strong enough captain to this young squad, if I'm honest.
Yeah, completely agree. What about you, Lucy? Are you on the same sort of wavelengths as Kaz?
Yeah, I said earlier, when Joe got actually the first one, it just felt like a weight was lifted off his shoulders. I could see that when obviously watching from home, and everyone just like gave him a big huddle. And then after the game, when he came off, so I substituted, and Widgerington was talking to him for about a minute or so. The camera panned on him, and he had his arm around him, and I think that's what he needed. I think Tisdale really didn't give him a chance. I know obviously how to get back. I don't think Tisdale really looked at him, to be honest. And I think Widgerington, obviously, we one of the people that are interested in him saw when we scouted him and signed him. But I think he really that showed today, and I really, really hope he can go on. And like you said, he's got, again, like some of the other players, he's got a lot of time on his side. I mean, I do agree he hasn't been on form, and I actually did think he probably needed a bit of a break. I never like to see anyone get dropped, but I did think it was the right decision. And obviously, I don't want anyone to be injured, but I felt he needed a couple of weeks out the side. And I would be really disappointed if he slots straight back in on Saturday. I just don't think that would be the right thing. And yeah, make him fight for the place, because if the defence are playing well, hopefully maybe start keeping clean sheets as well as getting wins. There's no reason for him to be coming in and taking someone's place if the other defenders are defending better than him at the moment.
Yeah, completely agree. I think after that first goal went in, it was just the confidence was crazy, and even the way he took the first goal, a few step overs, smashed it bottom corner, and then the second goal, chested it and volleyed it. Yeah, I agree. Got some score predictions as well. Chris Gouge says going for a score draw tomorrow. JB Back says 1-1. Yeah, I'll definitely take that. Harry Jenkins says 5-0 gas. Tommy Widgerington with all 5. I'll take that. Wayne Clark. Wayne Clark 1-1. Yeah, I mean, it looks like most people are going with a draw. Got one with Lewis Bailey. 1-0 with Hanlon to score. That would be nice for him to get a goal. But yeah, coming near the end, make sure to leave. If you've got any last questions, make sure to quickly put them in the chat and we'll answer them. Also, make sure you go and subscribe to Matt's channel, GillsInTheBloodTV. Great channel. So close to 1.5k, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm close. I think I'm down to, I think it's 8 or 9 we need now. 9. So
yeah,
I'll
9
shut
people
up talking about it.
Yeah, so if 9 people can go and subscribe, help them get there, that'd be class. But yeah, let's just see if we got any. Someone says, why are all the games at 1 o'clock? Why are all Gills games at 1 o'clock? I don't know. Yeah, you've had quite a lot, haven't you? I think you played You played Sunderland twice at 1 o'clock.
No,
a
we
few
played
others.
Sunderland at home at 1 o'clock, and then we had to go up there and play a 3 o'clock kickoff. So they didn't reciprocate the early start, bless them. But we scored in the last minutes.
Yeah, it's mad.
I don't know. I thought
BRSC
at the start of the season it was to do with floodlights or something, or just getting away sides home a bit earlier. But you know, it's getting light now, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, BRSC Tom, Jonah hat trick tomorrow. Wow, imagine the scenes if he gets a hat trick. That'd be class. But you know, anything can happen. But yeah, if there's any more questions, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, one other thing, Kaz, obviously you've got a new new charity thing coming up on GasCast. Can you tell everyone about that if they don't already know?
Yeah, so on the 5th of March at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9:30, we're going to have Chris Lines, Lee Mansell, Stuart Sinclair, Billy Bowden, and who's the last one?
James Clark.
I can't think of the last one. I've said James Clark, Billy Bowden, Lee Mansell, Chris Lines.
Sinclair.
And Sinclair. Yeah, sorry, that is right. Yeah. So we've got them on for like a charity Q&A sort of thing. It's £5 if you want to join. And it's going to be basically like a bit like this, but all the fans will be involved as well. And people can chip in and ask questions. So we'll have someone in charge of unmuting people. So if you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand. It's all very technical. Raise your hand and then someone will unmute and then you can ask the players a question. But it's basically just going to be a one big chat about the promotion season and all for charity. So even if you don't want to come, like if you want to donate £5, the link's on the GasCast page. So go and check it out. And yeah, it'd be great to see you guys there.
Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, make sure you go and check them out on Facebook or Twitter as well, and Instagram. Like Kaz said, the links are on the page, and yeah, it should be really good. I think obviously that. I mean, it's going to be good to talk about something really happy for once, because that was absolute quality. You know, brings back good memories. What else? Someone. I don't know how to pronounce this. His name, but he says, is Belston involved in the charity?
No, it's GasCast. No, it's GasCast, not Retro Rovers.
Yeah. But yeah, that's literally going to be it. Obviously, feel free to watch it on the replay if you missed any parts. Like I said, don't forget to check out Matt's channel. So close to 1.5k. Don't forget, if you want to tune in, I'll be doing obviously live stream like I do every single Rovers game. Like check out Josh's Pirate Pundit as well on Facebook, Insta, and Twitter as well. And yeah, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week. Up the gas.
Up the gas.
Up the gas.